Fab. Hi, everyone. Hello, big welcome to this afternoon Apprenticeships at Channel 4 session. I'll just give it a minute just to let anyone else that's trying to log in to do so, and then we'll kick off. Fab. Okay, well, hi everyone. Yet again, big welcome this afternoon. Thank you so much for giving up the next 45 minutes to learn more about apprenticeships at Channel 4. So my name is Lowry and I'm the Early Careers Manager at Channel 4. So me and the rest of the Early Careers team coordinate lots of events and activities and initiatives all around bringing people out of their start of their careers into Channel 4. So that could be apprenticeships, work experience, graduate schemes, internships. But today we'll be focusing predominantly on the apprenticeship programme at Channel 4. So in the next 30 minutes or so, I'll be covering a little bit more information about Channel 4 and why it's a great place to work, the apprenticeship programme we have, what roles we have live, how you can apply, make a great application. And at the end, I will endeavour to leave some time for any questions that you might have. So as and when they pop into your heads, please do pop them in the chat. And at the end of the session, I will go back and look through them and answer as many as I can. So let's kick off. Fab. So fingers crossed some of you have come across Channel 4 probably by watching some of our programmes. But it might surprise you to know that we actually have 7 networks. So we've got the standard Channel 4 terrestrial channel, so that's what you watch on TV. We've got our on-demand All 4 streaming platform. We've got E4, 4 Extra, More 4, Film 4 and 4/7. So various channels all putting out different content. So fingers crossed you've come across more than one before today. So what makes Channel 4 unique and why do we exist? So Channel 4 was actually set up in 1982 by Margaret Thatcher's government, which always sounds a bit funny to say because we don't think she would probably like and watch many of our programmes today. We are government owned but commercially funded, which makes us a little bit different to other broadcasters like the BBC. So we don't receive any government or taxpayer money. We're completely self-sufficient. We fund ourselves by selling TV advertising, and all the profit or the revenue that we make from the TV advertising goes straight back into making more content and commissioning more programmes. What surprises people to learn about Channel 4 is that we don't actually have any in-house production teams. So what we do is we work with lots actually of independent production companies across the UK. We get sent pitches from them, pitches for programmes, and then we give them money and commission them and get them on our channel. And then, like I said, all the money that we make goes straight back into making more content. So we really are contributing a lot to the British creative economy. We were actually set up with a specific remit in mind. So these are things that we abide by whenever we consider making programmes or commissioning programmes rather. So it's things like to be bold, to take risks, to champion unheard voices, and to really represent the diversity of the UK today, both on and off screen. So whenever we're thinking about commissioning a programme or working with new writers and directors, it's always through this diverse lens. So that's what makes us really unique, and that's why a lot of people choose to work at Channel 4. It's for this kind of fantastic remit that we have. So another strategic priority for Channel 4 is something we call for all the UK. So we really didn't want to centralise everything in London. We realised there's talent all over the UK. So a couple of years ago, we opened our headquarters in Leeds. So in addition to the headquarters and our office in London, where I'm coming from today, we also have creative hubs in Glasgow, Manchester and Bristol. So really making sure we're tapping into talent all over the UK, of which we know there's plenty. So that brings us on to how you can get started and get your kind of foot in the door and a bit of experience of life at Channel 4 and careers in the creative industry. So like I said, today I'll focus predominantly on apprenticeships. So I'll be going into that area in a lot more detail. But to give you kind of a bit of a summary, at Channel 4 at this point, we have probably close to 50 apprentices, and they are doing various programmes that last between 15 months to 5.5 years in length. So that's the longest one, 5.5 years. That's a legal apprenticeship, which sees the apprentice become a fully fledged lawyer at the end of the apprenticeship. They span from levels 2 to 6. I'll go into what that means in a bit more detail later on. And we really have apprentices spanning the entire business at this point. So technology, our creative teams for studio, for creative, commissioning. We've got an apprentice in Film 4 that joined a couple of weeks ago. In HR, I think we've got the highest number of apprentices, about 8 to 10. Content management, pictures, finance. Really, we have opportunities in every single area. So I think there's often a misconception that to work in the media or in broadcasting, it's just handling a camera or it's directing. Well, actually, that's not even close to the case at Channel 4. Because we don't have those independent, because we don't have our own production facilities here, but B, because really we are doing things behind the scenes as well. So you can work in media, but work in HR and media. So it's a great place to work if you're creative, but also have those kind of administrative skills, for example. What's great about all these roles is that minimum experience is needed. So we're not looking for the finished article. We don't expect you to have direct work experience linked to media. We appreciate how hard that is to get. We're really looking for people that are eager to learn, have potential, and are keen to kind of start off their career in broadcasting. We also have entry-level roles in our commercial division. So we have sales assistant roles come up often in Manchester and London. You don't need any prior experience for these sales assistant roles. We do just ask that you're good with numbers, as this plays a part to that role. And obviously, being in sales, it's a people-focused position. So we're looking for people that with good customer service skills as well. Later on this year, we'll be relaunching our work experience program. So whether you're looking to get more of an insight into what it's like to work at Channel 4, whether you're looking to have some experience of upskilling sessions, you might be really intrigued to know how to nail an interview or nail your CV. Well, we'll be running lots of sessions in the autumn and also early next year. These will go live on our website in a couple of weeks, maybe a month's time rather. So please do keep an eye if that's of interest. And then we have some other 4 skills schemes as well. So we've got the production training scheme. This is targeted at graduates with no experience in media. And this sees graduates placed with independent production companies for a year. These are very practical positions. If you're interested in editing, camera work, being a runner, this is a great scheme for you. That will open for the next round of applications next spring. Also, content creatives. So this sees these candidates do an 8-week of training with screen skills before they join Channel 4 in creative teams for 14 weeks of work experience. We also have launched our 4 Schools programme this year, so we have lots of Channel 4 employees going around the country talking to various schools about what we do, doing Q&As, workshops. So if you would like us to come into your school, then do get in touch. We'll make sure that we flag the email to reach us at the end of this session in case you need any more information on anything I've mentioned in this slide, as I appreciate it's a bit of a whistle-stop tour. So back onto apprenticeships, which I know why you're all here today is to find out more. So what is an apprenticeship? Sometimes we assume that everyone knows what an apprenticeship is, but of course that's not the case. So we would like to kick off by explaining what it actually involves, what it looks like. So an apprenticeship is when you're employed to do a real job while studying for a formal qualification. Apprenticeships have become a really alternative route rather, as opposed to going to university. It means that you get to gain real tangible work experience whilst being paid, whilst getting a qualification. So I can completely understand why it's becoming a really popular option, and obviously we're big advocates for it in the early careers team. And at most companies at Channel 4, apprentices will come in and work a 4-day week with 1 day or 20% a week set aside for your off-the-job training. So that is doing your coursework or your portfolio, whatever you have to do in order to work towards getting that qualification. There are different levels of apprenticeship qualifications, and they are equivalent to different things. So at Channel 4, we have people coming in at a level 2 all the way up to a degree apprenticeship, which is a level 6/7. So if you're coming into Channel 4 at a level 2 apprenticeships, level 2 qualification rather, that's equivalent to GCSEs. And normally speaking, that's between 12 to 15 months in length. Level 3 apprenticeships is equivalent to A level, and they're normally between 15 to 18 months. Then you've got these higher apprenticeships, which are anywhere between level 4 and level 7. Sometimes you'll see people come in at the level 4 and progress all the way up to the level 7. And this is equivalent to a foundation degree and above, and takes between 3 and 5 years. So as you can see, it's getting a little bit more time intensive. And then we've got a degree apprenticeship. So this is the equivalent to you going to university and getting an undergraduate degree. It can take between 3 and 6 years, but really excitingly, this September, we will have 4 degree apprentices join us in 2 technology teams for the first time. And yeah, at the end of their 36 months, they will have obtained a degree qualification whilst earning no debts, all the while getting really great tangible work experience. So yeah, a really fantastic option. Fab. So hopefully some of you have seen on our website, and hopefully that's why some of you are here today, because you're looking to apply to 3 vacancies that we currently have. So I thought I'd run through these openings in a little bit more detail. So firstly, we have a media planning apprentice position that's currently live on our website. So the application deadline for this role is this Sunday. So if you're interested, do start getting that application worked on and submitted by the deadline of Sunday evening. The qualification you would earn for this specific apprenticeship is a level 3 business administration apprenticeship. It takes 15 months to complete. Business admin is a fantastic broad apprenticeship which ensures you understand the fundamentals of working in a business. At the end of the apprenticeship, whether you've loved the team that you're in, or whether you might have seen another area of the channel that's of interest to you more, well, that qualification will put you in a fantastic position to take your next steps and put you in good stead for whatever comes along down the line. So for this specific role, and you can read much more about it in the job description, which can be found on the website before you click the button to apply, we are looking for someone to join the marketing team. And now what this team does is look after on-air communications. So that is announcements, that's trailers, and it's about thinking about what to show at what time in order to target audiences to get them to watch specific programs. So for example, at 9 o'clock, if there was an advert, you probably wouldn't show an advert relating to a kids' TV program because kids are in bed. So you might choose to do this after work. So it's really about that scheduling, thinking about marketing effectively. If you're passionate about our programs, have a good understanding of viewer experience, then this would be a really cool role for you, and please do apply. Secondly, and to add as well, that role is London-based. At Channel 4, we run a 50-50 manifesto, meaning that you can spend half of your week working from home, but half of the week should be spent in the office. This is a really great way to learn from your team, learn from your peers, and generally it's a very sociable office, so it's very nice to be in half the week anyway. We then have a creative diversity apprentice, and this role is based in our Bristol Creative Hub. The closing date for this apprenticeship is August 3rd. Again, it's the same qualification as the media planning apprentice position. This role will involve working in the creative diversity team, ensuring that anything Channel 4 commissions follows our commissioning diversity guidelines. So like I said at the start of the presentation, a big remit for Channel 4 is to make sure that anything and everything we commission and the people that we work with really represent the diversity that we see across the UK today. So anything that we do is through the lens of our remit. So yeah, this apprentice would sit in the commissioning team and making sure that everything we do is following those guidelines, which is very important to us. Finally, we are looking for a talent team apprentice who will actually join my wider team. The closing date for this apprenticeship is August 9th, and the qualification this apprentice would obtain is a level 2 recruitment resourcer. It's also 15 months in length like the other 2 positions. This apprentice would support a talent advisor in finding brilliant people to join Channel 4 across our creative, commercial and operations divisions. So you'd really be, talking to people interested in joining Channel 4, posting jobs, using our talent system to progress people through the recruitment process, shortlisting, issuing contracts. If you like talking to people, you're a passionate brand ambassador and like working in a fast-paced team, this job role would definitely be for you. So like I said, please head over to our careers website if you want to read through these job descriptions in more detail and apply. So you know now that the media planning apprentice deadline is first, being this Sunday, with the creative diversity and talent team apprentice following on not too long after that. So don't miss your chance to apply for these great roles. And start date is flexible, but I imagine based on these closing dates, it would be around mid-September. So that's just something to bear in mind, but we can be flexible for the right candidate. So this is how the recruitment process for apprentices at Channel 4 works. So you'll apply online via our careers website by submitting your CV and additional questions. A few things to note: please do apply via our careers website. Don't email your application to us. We need all those details centrally on the system so we can progress you properly. On the job description, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll find additional questions that the hiring manager would like you to answer. Please do remember to answer these when submitting your CV, because we can't consider applications without them. It's a really great way for us to get to know you a little bit better and kind of get to the crux as to why you might be applying for these apprentice positions. The next stage, if you get through that initial written application stage, would be to self-record an interview, a video interview, via a platform called HireVue. This HireVue is a bit like Marmite. Some people hate it, some people love it. It's a little bit unusual because questions will pop up on a screen. You'll have around 30 seconds to 2 minutes max to respond. There won't be anyone else on the end of the camera, so it's just you talking to yourself, which can be a little bit off-putting. But again, it's a great way for us to get to know you a little bit better before we ask that you would progress to a final stage interview with the hiring manager, and often someone from the early careers team will also join the hiring manager for that interview. We're going to run through the HireVue and second interview stage in more detail, but please note that Channel 4 does not try and catch people out. It's really about us trying to get the best out of you. So please, it's hard not to be nervous, of course, but please come ready to share things about yourself and to try and enjoy it as well, because we certainly don't want anyone to be really nervous and panicking. We really like meeting new people at interview stage. And then following the second stage interview, it would be the offer, and then we would figure out your start date. So that is very quickly what the recruitment process looks like for apprentices applying to Channel 4. So some kind of quick points regarding key advice for people looking for an apprenticeship. It's really important that you tailor your application. So do research the company. It's really obvious to recruiters if you haven't done this. For us, it's really important to know why you're applying to Channel 4. It could be any number of reasons that's original and authentic to you, but it's really important that we see that you've done your research and you know what we're about as well. That'll go down really well and impress recruiters and hiring managers alike. Do reread the job description and highlight key duties and skills. So, it's really important, again, for recruiters that we know that you fully understand the role and what will be expected from you, and that you start to think about what you've done in your life that really apply to the skills and key duties that we're looking for you to do once you come into the role. This is a really key one. All work experience is good work experience. Don't underestimate the value of a part-time job, of babysitting, of managing your schoolwork and extracurricular activities. These have all given you really vital transferable skills that we're looking for. Like I said, apprentices are not meant to be the finished product. You're people that are coming into your first role, most likely, that are eager to learn and will really grow in the role. So please don't be put off if you feel as though you haven't got an abundance of work experience. That's really not the point of apprenticeships. You're here to learn. And yeah, that ties in nicely with the last point. Think about how your hobbies or part-time jobs might be relevant. So again, we'll come onto this in a bit more detail, but those are some key highlights we think is really important to note as you start thinking about whether applying to an apprenticeship is right for you. So putting together your CV. So this is something that we could do a full session on, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. Fingers crossed some of you already have a CV, and for those of you that don't, it's definitely a good time to start thinking about putting one together. Like I've already mentioned, for the Channel 4 application process, you will need to submit a CV, and for other jobs as well. In most cases, they do still ask for one. So start considering putting one together. If you're at school, if you're at university, do ask your careers advisor for help. If you're not in school or university, why don't you compare your CV with a friend's or family members just to see what they've put down if you've not created one yet. But by and large, CVs take a pretty formulaic approach. So they will kick off with your name, with some personal details. Just another recruiter tip here, do make sure that your details are up to date. Often we contact candidates to invite them along to an interview, and sometimes we can't get through, we get bounce backs, if they've changed their phone number. That would be a bit of a tragedy, so do make sure that you're keeping your CV up to date. Then there's a bit of a headline, so just a little bit about yourself in the third person, what experience you have, what you're looking for. And then you will list your experience in chronological order. So from the latest thing you've done all the way down to the last thing that you've done. Make sure that you tailor your CV to the job that you're looking to apply to. Sometimes we will read CVs and it says, I'm looking for an editor position, but they're applying for a position in HR. So immediately we start questioning, not sure if this person really is motivated for this role. Like I said, there's lots of templates online, so do take a look, as that will really help you start as a building block to get your CV underway. So putting together an application. So these are just some things that you will need to consider when creating your CV and additional questions, and these will put you in good stead for the interview stage as well. So again, already covered this, but why this company? Why the specific role? It's important that you think about, those reasons as to why you're applying to Channel 4 over, say, another broadcaster, and why this role? Why do you think you want a career in HR, for example? Do highlight your transferable skills. So working as part of a team, customer service, problem solving. You will don't underestimate how many skills you have from being at school, being at college. That involves group work, time management, being organised. So really start to think about what you've done. Even if you feel as though you haven't got lots of work experience, it doesn't matter. It can come from all other areas of your life. Tell us about any relevant learning you've done, if you've done things outside of school or even in school, online courses, LinkedIn Learning. If you haven't done any of these things, well, why don't you have a little poke around? On the internet, there's plenty of things you can do, which might put you in a good position to apply for some roles with some extra experience on your CV. And yeah, your hobbies as well. So we like to kind of see that candidates are well-rounded, that they kind of have a good work-life balance, that they have interests, passions outside of work. So are you part of the football team? Are you good at knitting? Whatever it might be, please let us know, because we like to see what makes people unique and what makes them tick as well. So video interview. So I said I would come back to the higher view video stage. Like I said, it's a bit of a Marmite situation. Some people really dislike it. Some people like it a lot. But these tips will put you in a good position to really excel at that stage. So as with any interview that takes place via a laptop or a tablet or a phone, try and find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed and with a solid internet connection. Nothing is more stressful than something cutting out halfway through. Do use headphones to prevent feedback. What's good with higher view is that you can test your audio and your video before you actually start to record yourself, so you can see if all things are working as they should. Do check the lighting beforehand and that your laptop is placed in the right place. Sometimes we have people that have their laptops underneath their chins and it's very dark. So it's really great if we can see you properly and everything's centered and well lit, and it'll be less off-putting to you as well. Don't let your background upstage you. Yeah, something quite bland as a background works best, just so you're not kind of distracted by it. So again, thinking about where you position your laptop, where you sit, somewhere quiet and not distracting. Don't stress about dress code, certainly not for Channel 4. We have a very informal dress code and we don't expect you to dress up when we're not dressing up. So it's just about what you feel comfortable in. And don't panic if things go wrong. Just get in touch with us. We can sort things out. We can set up another higher view interview. Never feel as though, there's no hope because the internet's cut out. That's not a problem at all. We'll make sure we get to the bottom of it and give you another, ensure that you have another try. So those are a few tips. There's plenty more on the internet for higher views. So if you get through to that stage, do have a poke around and read through. And there's also helpful YouTube videos as well. Finally, here's some face-to-face interview tips. So jumping ahead a little bit to the end stage of an interview, not sure how many of you have done interviews before. They can be really nerve-wracking, but what's pretty common with most interviews is that at the end of it, they'll say, do you have any questions that you want to ask us? It always looks good to the hiring manager if you do have some things to ask. You might have researched everything about Channel 4 and you really feel as though there's nothing else to check, but it's kind of flattering the hiring manager. So we would definitely encourage that you have some questions on hand, and it kind of leads to a nice organic chat to end the interview if nothing else. Have a pen and paper ready in case there are some notes you'd like to take, especially at the end of the interview if you ask something like, when will I hear back? And have some water as well. I didn't do that today and I'm regretting it because I'm losing my voice, but it's absolutely fine to take a pause, have a sip of water, and just have a bit of a breather. Prepare some examples in advance. Yeah, so again, with some interviews, well, with the majority actually, there will be some pretty formulaic questions. So things like, why are you applying to this role? Why Channel 4? Some competency and situational questions as well. So tell us about a time you've worked in a team, tell us about a time you've done a good presentation. So it really helps if you've actually thought of some good examples beforehand. So when these questions come at you, actually you're thinking, oh, I've already prepared this. I can riff off this answer quite easily. Definitely doesn't hurt to have a look on the internet again, and just there's tons of websites with lists of various interview questions, so you can prepare as many as you'd like. I think it's a really good way to go ahead of an interview. And yeah, as we've already mentioned, research the company and reread the job description, just so you're fully aware of who you're talking to, what they do, and what the job role will involve. That's a way to really impress and make the hiring manager confident that you know your stuff. So I think it's also worth mentioning with an interview, it's a two-way process. So as much as it is about the hiring manager choosing you, it's also about you choosing the company. So they should be selling the company and the role and the team to you as well. But like I said, broadly, at Channel 4, there are two interview styles depending on teams across the channel. Some will be a little bit more formal and stick to a script and won't deviate much from it. Others, it will be much more of a kind of informal chat. So it just depends on the team that you'll be meeting with. Feel free to ask the recruiter what to expect from the interview if they haven't given you much information. Sometimes they can't give much away because the team hasn't given us that information. But if they can give you some tips in which you can prepare, then they will. Sometimes as well, there might be a task attached to the interview. So it could be creating a presentation. It might even involve coming in for an assessment centre where there might be a group task, a discussion task, but that will all, of course, be relayed to you in that invite to interview email. But yes, generally speaking, in addition to asking you why you're applying to the role and to Channel 4, they'll kick off by kind of alleviating your nerves by just letting you talk organically and asking something like, tell me a bit about yourself. And then there will be some behavioural and situational questions, most likely, which I think you can do a bit of preparation for in advance of the interview itself. And yeah, there's a nice quote here. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. So definitely don't lie in an interview. There's no need to, and it won't sound authentic, and the hiring manager will probably be able to tell. So good quote from Mark Twain. There's also a good, effective way to answer interview questions, which is called the STAR model. So this is answering a question very comprehensively, because whatever someone asks you, whatever question that is, you respond by describing the situation, the task at hand, the action, and the result. So it could be, tell us about a time you worked in a group and how did that go? You know, what position did you play? So the situation is, I worked in a group at school. The task at hand was for us to create a presentation. The action I took was, well, I actually assigned myself as the leader and I delegated the different roles. The result was we got the task done on time and it was great and everyone knew what they had to do. Very quick, not very good example most likely, but that's kind of how that STAR method works. You can absolutely take a moment before answering a question just to have a pause, just to gather your thoughts and structure the answer. Much better to do that than to kind of garble a response. Use I when talking about actions taken rather than we. It is really hard. I think we all revert to being pretty humble in interviews and we say we, but try and get into the habit of saying I. So what you did alone and not a group effort. And be positive in talking about your previous roles and colleagues. Yeah, always better to be to be positive about past experiences rather than kind of having that blame mentality, because it doesn't come across very well in interviews. And yeah, don't stress and think of an interview like a conversation, not an exam. Like I said, certainly at Channel 4, they are not meant to be horrible. We want you to feel at ease. We want you to get the best out of you. And it's not meant to be an exam. So you can do quite a bit to prepare, like I've mentioned today, but equally, some of it will just come down to you being organic, authentic on the day, and just having some rapport with the interviewers at hand. And that is a very quick whistle-stop tour of Apprenticeships at Channel 4, application process, and a few other bits and bobs. So I think we've got some questions in the chat. So let me go through these now. So roughly what month should we look at for the work experience? So we're finalising dates currently as a team. So we're hoping to get those up on the website over the next couple of months, but we're predicting that the first kind of virtual session will take place in around November time. And we'll be running a string of, like I said, upskilling, but also kind of information, advice and guidance sessions. So head over to the 4Skills website, keep an eye on that because that's where the timetable will be listed. So what universities do you partner with to offer the degree with the apprenticeship? Thanks, Jasmine. So for the broadcast engineering apprenticeship that we'll see 2 apprentices join the channel to undertake in September, we've partnered with Ravensbourne University. We also have 2 apprentices coming in September to do a level 6 data analytics apprenticeship. And for that, it's not a university, it's called ADA. They have a 6th form campus in Tottenham Hale, and then it feeds into the apprenticeship campus in Whitechapel, and they focus around kind of technological and digital skills. So yeah, Ravensbourne and Ada. Will there be any more apprenticeship opportunities available to Northern Talent? Manchester, Leeds would love to apply. Thanks so much, Madeline. So we just had a big intake of Leeds apprentices start with us in July. We've just closed a sales apprenticeship role, which is based in Manchester. So with regards to future apprentice roles, we are running one big intake next year. So all apprentices next year will start in September. So if you are looking for a role in Manchester, Leeds, London, Bristol or Glasgow, all apprentice roles will go live on our website in January. So at the moment, TBC what teams, we know they'll kind of cover the breadth of the entire channel and all office locations, but we're just working with teams at the moment to confirm those exact positions. So yeah, January you would apply and the recruitment process would take us through to the offer, which would happen in July, with you starting with a whole host of other apprentices in September, which is exciting. Is it possible for non-UK citizens to apply? I'm afraid you would need the right to work in the UK to apply for our apprentice positions. So apologies if that means that some people on this call are not able to apply. Is it fine for Midlands-based people to apply for these apprenticeships? Absolutely. We do expect apprentices to be in the office half the week. But also we do have a relocation policy for our apprentices, and we have had apprentices in the past move from their hometowns to Leeds, to London. So if you need that support to make the move, then we've got that on hand and got you covered. Roughly how many places do you offer for each apprenticeship? So by and large, teams tend to only recruit for 1 apprentice at a time. This is due to the fact that teams at Channel 4 can be quite small and quite stretched, and we don't want apprentices to come into the channel if they're not fully supported. That being said, we've seen really great talent this year, so often teams that only consider taking on 1 end up taking 2 to 3 to 4. So there can be some flex there if we see the talent and if the team then understands that it has more headcount to get more hiring managers in to support those apprentices, because we certainly wouldn't want to bring anyone in that doesn't have that support within the team. Is there any pre-production roles that offer a level 6 degree, such as a runner or production assistant in London? So, Alina, for those roles, I would suggest you take a look at our website because they will be entry-level positions as opposed to apprenticeships. We do also have the production training scheme, which I mentioned at the start of the presentation. That is for graduates who would like to be placed with an independent production company for a year, and the roles those candidates would do involve things to do with production. So yeah, being a runner, directing, editing, all that good practical stuff. So I would encourage you to have a look at that scheme. You could look to do a degree apprenticeship first and then progress onto that, I suppose, or if university is an option as well. There are some options there for you to consider. So what apprenticeship would you recommend for someone looking to go into a more creative role? So we have an amazing creative arm at Channel 4, as you would expect. We've got 4 Studio. They actually create kind of short content in-house, so things for YouTube, a lot of things for other social platforms that we have. We also have 4 Creative, who are kind of our in-house campaign creators. Hopefully you've seen some of them on buses, like All Together different, the Paralympics one. So I would encourage you to take a look at those teams. On our website, there's a breakdown of different teams at the channel, so you can learn more about what they do on the website. So have a little look. What if previous job experience wasn't so good socially but gained great experience and skills? How do you recommend discussing honestly without leaving a bad impression? Thanks for your help. So, I mean, Keisha, we're really looking for transferable skills for these roles. I would assume that you have social experience from kind of interacting with friends, family, school, college. So I'm sure there's a mix of different experiences you can apply there to make sure you're covering the social side as well as the skills. Would having a degree qualification prior to the apprenticeship lower the chances of being successful due to the apprenticeship nature? For those that have degrees, we don't encourage the apprenticeship route, mostly because you won't be eligible for it. You will have too much prior knowledge to undertake an apprenticeship that's below the latest qualifications that you have. So if you're applying for a level 3 apprenticeship, but you had a degree, i.e. a level 6 apprenticeship, you would just be too overqualified. So for degree holders, please take a look at the website and look for entry-level positions, or look to the production training scheme as well. No problem, Keisha. Great. I'll just wait to see if there are any other questions. Please feel free to ask us absolutely anything. No question is a silly one. And just for information, if you have any questions following this event that I didn't answer or just came to your heads later on, please email us at 4skills, 4 being the number, at channel4, 4 being the number 4, .co.uk. That's 4skills at channel4.co.uk. Me and the rest of the early careers team manage that inbox, so we can absolutely get back to you with a response. Yes, and if you are keen to apply to any of the apprenticeships that I mentioned today, there are links to the individual ones below, and please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, the 4Skills YouTube channel, because we will be running the majority of our virtual work experience sessions on YouTube, so we can save them, keep them there as a bank, so people can refer back to them in their own time if they can't make a session. So yeah, please do like, subscribe, and do apply to those apprenticeship roles following the links in the bio. Yes, thank you, Rachel. So content creator scheme may work for you if you're in Leeds or Manchester. So that was the other scheme I referred to. Content Creative sees candidates do an 8-week training with screen skills before undertaking 14 weeks of work experience with a creative team. So thanks for the reminder there, Rachel. So after completing the level 3 qualification apprenticeships, are there any options afterwards within C4, e.g. a job offer or a higher level qualification? Yeah, absolutely, Dario. So we have those conversations towards the end of Apprentices apprenticeships. We are very keen to retain our apprentices. Of course, some factors come into play here, whether there's budget, whether there's headcount, but we absolutely look to retain our apprentices and have those conversations towards the end of the apprenticeship. So looking, if you want to stay internally and look for a role on your team, maybe look to another team. If there's nothing on offer at the time of you finishing your apprenticeship, we will absolutely support you in gaining employment elsewhere. With some apprentices as well, yes, they do then progress on to higher level apprenticeships. So these are all things that we constantly kind of chat to you about as you get through your apprenticeship and near qualification. So are the production training schemes appropriate for postgrads? Yeah, absolutely, Jasmine. The production training scheme really are for graduates that have kind of little to no work experience relating to media. So that doesn't at all make a postgrad ineligible if you fit that bill. Are there a lot of level 6 apprenticeships offered by Channel 4? Is it more level 2? Thanks, Selena. Broadly speaking, level 3 to 4 is the most popular at Channel 4. On every job description, we will make a note of what level and what apprenticeship and with what provider you would be undertaking that qualification with. But like I said, this September we have 4 degree apprentices joining us. So with our big intake of September apprentices next year, who knows, hopefully the number will be even higher because we appreciate what a great opportunity they are. What type of work experience would you recommend completing the content creative scheme? Again, Robin, it's not doesn't have to be specific to kind of that role, which would be in a creative team at Channel 4. I think we're looking for kind of people that are eager to learn, people obviously that are creative minded. So if you've got a portfolio, if you've got anything that you can show us, which kind of shows that you're a creative thinker, that would be great to see. But like I said, it's really about kind of doing research into the role, understanding what it's about, and making a solid application. And then I think at the interview stage, you can kind of let us know about your kind of creative interests and why that role. Sorry, that was very incoherent. When do applications open for the production training scheme, and does this vary each year? So they've just closed, I believe, for this year, and they'll be opening again next spring. I don't believe it varies, but that role, that scheme actually sits with our Leeds-based 4Skills team. So again, do email the 4Skills inbox if you want more information on that production training scheme specifically, and we can forward that on to our colleagues in the Leeds team. No problem, Robin. Well, we have 5 minutes, so if there are any final questions, please let us know. Otherwise, we just want to say a massive thank you for coming along this afternoon, for engaging with us. And oh, there is one more. With all these opportunities being notified on the 4Skills Twitter, thank you. The best place to find these kind of information regarding these roles will be the 4Skills website, which will be updated as and when we have these details finalised. However, things will be going out on 4Skills Twitter and our 4Skills Instagram page as well. So great to subscribe to all these pages and follow them, give them a like so you're notified as soon as things come out. Do also keep an eye on the careers website where all roles will be listed, including our apprenticeship roles. That's a great place to have a look through and get acquainted with kind of how it all works when you come to applying. Fab. Well, yeah, please like, subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you at the next 4Skills session. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.